So we're going to use the inverse matrix to solve this system. And I'm going to show my setup, and then I am going to resort to the calculator to find the answer. So I do want to explain a little bit about how to use an inverse to solve a system of equations in matrices. So I want to go back to something that is really familiar to you, like back from pre-algebra, your pre-algebra days, maybe your 8th grade days, or 7th grade days, excuse me. So I have the one-step equation 3x equals 15. So typically, people who are learning this do this, right? They divide by 3 and they say, okay, x is 5. Well, what I'd like for us to consider is this. Instead of doing that, I'd like for us to consider a different way to look at it, and that is to multiply the left side and the right side by the inverse of this. Now, when I say the inverse, I mean the multiplicative inverse. Well, what's a multiplicative inverse? That's the thing by which I would multiply so that I get a 1. So the multiplicative inverse of 3 is 1/3. Now, I'm going to put that at the beginning here, and we see that that's going to do the exact same thing as dividing by 3, which is the same as multiplying by 1/3, right? So I'm going to have x is 5. This process here is exactly what we're going to do with matrices. And this right here is the inverse. Okay, so we've looked at how to get inverses, and so that's where we're going to place the inverse so that we get the identity matrix on the left side here. This is going to create the identity matrix, meaning it's going to create a 1, right? Just like we would have 1 in front of x. That's just the identity 1. And then basically the work that needs to be done, the work would actually be on the right side of the equation so that we can get our answer. So that's where we're going to focus, is that yellow part, the right side. We are going to set up the whole equation, though, with the matrices. Here we go. The very first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to pull off the coefficients. So there's a 1 there, there's a 1 there, there's a 1 there. So remember, the understood ones need to be written in. There's that, and there's that. So there's the coefficient matrix. I'm going to multiply by the variable matrix. Now I'm going to leave a space, and I'm going to put my constant matrix. Now, it's just like this over here, right? It's just like this. It's just like this over here. I've just written my coefficient matrix, my variable matrix, and my constant matrix. So there's the color coding, okay? So let's keep connecting it to what we already know. Now I'm going to find my inverse, right? I'm going to find my inverse matrix. Oops. That didn't help me any, did it? Okay, it won't go away. Alright, that's okay. I'm trying to find another highlighter color. That's alright. So let's find my inverse. Now, it's a 1, -1, 2, and 1. I'm going to go to my calculator. 1, -1, 2, and 1. Alright, so here we go. Matrix. Oops, excuse me. That's not what I wanted. Second matrix. Alright, so I'm going to go to Edit. I'm going to put in my 2 by 2. Okay, it was 1, -1, and 2, and 1. 1, -1, 2, and 1. Alright, so now let's put in my B matrix. And that's going to be, oops, let me go to Edit first and then down to B. That's going to be, again, a 2 by 1. And this time it was a 2 and a 7. Okay. So, now, again, we're looking for the inverse matrix. We're looking for this thing here. Basically, we're looking for the 1/3 in our analogy. Let's take a look. So we'll call up matrix A, raise it to the -1 power, which is saying find me the inverse. Now I don't like that because I want to write it down. So I'm going to go Math, enter, enter, and that's going to give me my inverse matrix. 1/3, 1/3, -2/3, 1/3. So I'm going to write that down here. Pardon me. 1/3, 1/3, negative 2/3, 1/3. There's my inverse matrix. I'm going to put it over here as well. So I hope you see how simple the logic of this is. Again, here's my inverse. That's my A. Here's my X matrix. Again, here's my inverse. And here's my B. Okay? So now, back here we were talking about how this is automatic, right? I do not need to do anything with this because that's going to go away. What I do need to do is to multiply the right side. That's going to give me my answer. So let's go back to the calculator. I've already put in the A, so I'm just going to call up the inverse of matrix A, and then I'm going to multiply by B. Here we go. So clear the screen. Second matrix. I'm going to call up matrix A. I'm going to raise it to the -1. Now I'm going to multiply by matrix B. I don't have to hit enter yet. Before then, I'm just going to call it forth. So I have A inverse times B, and 3 and 1 is my answer. Let's go back here. So I get a 3 and a 1, and that's my answer matrix. So my answer is the point 3, 1. And if I actually take that and put that back in my two equations, it will prove to be true. It'll make it true. 3 minus 1 is 2, and then 6 plus 1 is 7. Alright, so I hope this was helpful. Thanks for watching.